Hey guys, hey bookkeeping family, how are we doing tonight? If you're just tuning in for the first time, I'd like to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Morgan Tapp, and I own Papillon House Bookkeeping. And I like to come over here every week, I do my best, and talk to you guys about, I don't know, whatever topic we've got floating around in the office or something that, tips and tricks, ways to kind of allow you guys a chance to feel part of a community. Sometimes this entrepreneurial journey is can feel lonely, and we want to let you know that you're not alone. We are here to be a part of your team. And also to kind of make bookkeeping fun because it doesn't have to be this arduous, boring task that can potentially get really overwhelming. We want to simplify it. We want to make it easy and show you some tricks, maybe some ways you can streamline some things. If you haven't thought of something, we like to come over here and talk about stuff. So if you're here, thanks for tuning in. I hope you make it to the end. If you have any questions, you can always drop comments. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. My phone number is everywhere. My website, is kind of right behind us. Papillon.house is us. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk. Today, I want to talk to you guys about audits, but not the IRS audits, because you guys know that while we have a CPA, I don't like the taxes part. I love the bookkeeping part. Um, but kind of a tongue-in-cheek joke, I want to talk to you guys about auditing your business, right? Trim the fat, audit your company. You want to audit it on a regular basis, and we're going to talk about why that's important and give you some tips on maybe how to make that go a little bit easier if you don't know where to start. Okay, let's dive in. So, first, let's talk about what I mean when I say audit your business and why I feel like that's an important thing to do. What I mean when I say audit your business is I want you to look at your reports, your P&L, profit and loss, income statement, however you want to call it. They're all the same thing. I want you to look at that P&L and I want to make sure that your records accurately align with your business activities. Now, what does that mean? That basically means is what you're doing in your business reflected on your reports? Let me give you an example. Let's say you were traveling, right? You had a business travel trip, a business trip. God, why can't I think? Oh my gosh. So let's say you had a business trip. Did you use your business credit card while you were there? Or did you forget and leave the business credit card at home, or perhaps not pull the business credit card out of the wallet and instead use your personal card? And if you used your personal card, did you then record those expenses in the books, or did you just kind of say whatever and pay off the card and never put them in the books? If you put them in the books, good for you. Then your activities and your reports align. If you didn't, then okay, well, now we got something to work on, right? Because if you don't, then those are things you could write off. I mean, let's be honest, business trips, write them off. That's expenses that you could use to offset your gross, which lowers your tax bill at the end of the year or beginning of the year during tax season, however you want to look at that one. So you want to make sure that you're recording your things properly and that your activities and your expenses accurately align, okay? I want you to feel powerful in your business, okay? I don't want you to feel lost, all right? And sometimes we work so hard in our business, helping our clients, running things, managing our employees, answering emails, that you forget to work on your business. And then what happens is you feel lost. You feel out of sorts. You feel anxiety because you don't know where you are. Are we profitable? Are we not profitable? What are we spending? And the only way you can gain back that power is by diving into the books, looking at your reports, looking at your numbers, and seeing where you come out. Okay. And that's kind of why I'm here. I want to help you guys get that back if you've lost it. And if you've never had it, then I want to teach you how to get it. All right. So, another good reason, the obvious reason for an audit of your books is so that you can have informed decision making. Okay. They give you accurate financial data, they ground your choices for your business in reality, not in what you think maybe was happening. Okay. Let's go back to that business trip. If you had option number two and you forgot to record the expenses, then you think that you have more than you really have because those expenses need to be in there, guys. Um, so they give you insights to your actual cash flows, your debts, your resources, and it kind of helps to steer you towards that sustainable growth. Okay. It also keeps you compliant, helps alleviate risk management. Businesses are involved with compliance and regulations. You guys know this. I know this. We got to do it, right? We have to stay inside the rules. And if you're constantly in your books, then you know that you are constantly following those rules. And we want to make sure that you stay there, right? They ensure orderliness in your financial records and your tax obligations. They preserve your business's reputation. And, sometimes in this world, your reputation is all you have. Okay, so regular bookkeeping audits will empower you with your knowledge for decision making. They will help you to reveal opportunities and face your challenges in your business with confidence, okay? They act kind of like a compass for you, a financial compass. They guide you towards success, all right? Now, let's talk about what can you actually do as an audit? What are we talking about? I mean, there's the obvious things. I like audits because then you can kind of trim the fat. Let's say that you have an app heavy or a software heavy company. All right. We've all done it. You buy a new app. Time tracking is the thing that kind of happens the most in our industries. This is kind of for my architects and my GCs. You guys will get a time tracking app and you don't like it. And so you forget to cancel it. And then you get another one. And before you know it, you're paying for like two or three. And while it's only 15, 20, $30, like those things add up. That's a bunch of $30 purchases that you perhaps don't need, right? My attorneys, I see a lot of it in payroll. I know that sounds crazy, but there's a lot of choices out there for payroll. And I love ADP, I love Paychecks, but they're not always the most cost-effective ones. So a lot of times there's better options. And if you sit down and you look at the books and you see what you're actually paying for payroll, um, then we find another one that does the same thing or even better. And we save money that way. Especially it just creeps up. Okay. I'm not going to sit out here and bash or promote another company, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay. So there are the obvious reasons for auditing your books. It's so that you can keep yourself as lean as possible as far as expenses and overhead go, right? Now, how can we do that? What can you do? So you can set a schedule. I'm going to check my books out every month on the 27th or the third Friday of every month. I'm going to really dive in and look at my P&Ls, look at where my expenses are, do a deep dive, okay? Put it on the calendar, set a reminder. I usually set a reminder a day in advance for things that I know I'm not going to want to do. And if it's something terrible, like, a field trip for my children, don't tell them. I set a reminder like 3 days in advance so I can psych myself up for what I have to do in the next coming days. Um, I love my kids, but pilgrim whatevers, not fun. Trips to the public library, not fun. So, all right. Another thing is to use an accounting software. I know that sounds crazy and obvious, but if you're trying to do your books on Excel, or a spreadsheet or a book. I've seen it all. It's going to be a really arduous task. If you have your books streamlined in QuickBooks or one of those types of software, you guys know that we use QuickBooks a lot over here. It's going to make those audits very easy because you can pull your reports in like less than 5 minutes. And as long as you're keeping those books up, it makes it that much easier. If you've got to do a task that you already know you're going to be pressed for time on, you don't want to add complication. You want to remove complication. And accounting software is one way to do that. If you're not really sure about your reports, start with your transactions, okay? Go look at the last 40, 50, 100, depending on the volume of your business transactions, and just make sure that they're being categorized correctly. Don't rely on the AI factor of your accounting software to correctly categorize your expenses. One thing that I have a hard, fast rule on company wide is we don't do auto ads on rules because way too often they are incorrect. The software does its best, but it's not a person, right? It's just looking for keywords, and sometimes those keywords aren't correct. Another thing is cross-checking with documents, right? If you have a document that shows a purchase, make sure that purchase is entered in correctly down to the penny, okay? Don't rely on someone else or your memory. Check the paperwork, okay? Reconciling bank accounts. This is something that gets missed all the time. Probably the most common thing that we have to go in and fix. Even if someone is doing their books, they're not reconciling. And reconciling your books is that last dotting your I's, crossing your T's, putting a period at the end of the sentence. That is the way that you can unequivocally know that nothing has been missed financially, transactionally within the last month. Okay? This is a deposit, a check, an expense, swipe of the credit card. Maybe you thought you used your personal card and you really didn't, so you entered those expenses in and accidentally, oops, you've duplicated things. You didn't even know you did. Or you used the card one here and one there and you got mixed up on what was what, and now you're missing some, or you're doubled up over here on something else. Reconciling the accounts is just the bloop, check, done. Yes, I didn't miss anything. It's so important. And if you've been entering in your expenses, it's another one of those things that takes 5 minutes. It's worth it, y'all. Do it. Let's see what else. Look at trends. Look for patterns. I will never forget when I was learning how to be a bookkeeper. My father-in-law, who is a CFO accountant, and he said, Morgan, you'll see over time that every client you have, their books have a life of their own. And I was like, you're so silly. How dramatic. I love you. He was like, you will. They'll take on a life of their own. They will have ebbs and flows. They'll breathe. They'll hold their breath. And I was like, okay, they're not real, but thank you, Grandpa. um, but in a way, he was correct because over time, if you really are in there every single month, you will see patterns and trends, and you will see that every January you take a dive or an uptick. You'll know that the second half of September is kind of slow. You'll start to you'll know that this employee tends to do a lot of things in the beginning of the month, and this employee does a lot of things at the end of the month. And it's cool, okay? I'm a giant numbers nerd. I think it's really fun. That's what makes it fun for me. And that's how you're going to know the numbers game of your company. But you have to get in there and do it. Okay? You have to look at those transactions, like I said, and then try pulling a profit and loss. Try reading it. If it doesn't make sense to you, that is a key indicator that you probably need help. Whether it's something simple like you just need to reorganize or relabel your chart of accounts. because maybe the standard that came with your software doesn't make sense, or your industry is so specific you need things broken out a little more, a few more sub accounts would make it make all the sense in the world for you. Or maybe if you don't understand the way it functions and what it's trying to tell you, you just need to sit down with somebody for 20 minutes and have it explained to you. Go through it together. I mean, we do that all the time. All the time. So I guess what I'm trying to say is there's help out there, and a lot of these fixes are pretty easy. If you get down into a profit and loss or an income statement and it doesn't make sense to you, 90% of the time it's an easy fix. So don't let that stop you from getting into your books and understanding where your company is, okay? And if you still try and it is overwhelming, perhaps get professional help. Our company is a professional bookkeeping company. And you can see behind us the things that we do. You can see the industries that we help, architects, attorneys, small business. And we specialize in organizing the books and categorizing those transactions properly so that they make sense for you. And then we are really heavy on reporting, so that you guys can do exactly what I'm talking about today. We want to make sure that you understand what you're doing, and we want you to grow. I love my clients' success. That makes my entire job worth it, because I don't know, it makes me feel like I've helped people. So if you want to get into your books and you feel overwhelmed and you've been listening to me talk for the last 15 minutes and you think, wow, Morgan, I love everything you're saying, but I don't have time for this and it's completely overwhelming and I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't really know if I know what you're talking about, shoot me an email. Email is probably the best way to get a hold of me, not gonna lie. But if you call me and I don't answer the phone, leave me a message. I'll call you back. Honestly, it's that simple. Leave me a message. Shoot me a text message. I have my phone on me 24/7. Um, and I will happily sit down with you and check out your books. I will listen to you talk. We will figure out what's going on with your company and we will come up with a solution to make it easier for you. I don't know more to say than that. That's kind of like, that is the nitty gritty of it. And you can ask every single client we have. Well, I wouldn't because there's a lot of them, but you could because that's what we do for everyone. Um, Consider hiring a professional bookkeeper, or I guess an accountant if you have really complex things that you need to go over if you want tax strategy. But we have that too. We have a CPA on staff. So we've got you covered pretty much everywhere. Um, Take action. Be an action taker. Don't sit around and wait and wonder and hope that it gets better, because it's never going to get better, guys. It's like having kids. When are you ready to have a child? Never. You just do it. um, and you figure it out, right? That's how parenting works. Well, that's how this business thing works. If you wait around and think, well, next month everything's going to slow down and I'm going to have more time to learn this, you're wrong, because something else will happen next month. So it's better to just take action and dive in. Let's solve the problems. Let's do this thing, as they say. But I hope that today has been fun. I hope that you've been able to laugh with me. I try to make it pretty real. I hope that it's been helpful. And if you guys need anything, comment below, check us out, check out our website, papillon.house. We're everywhere. We're Facebook, we're LinkedIn, we're Instagram. I'm figuring out the TikTok. I don't really love the TikTok, so don't judge me on my videos. This is so much easier for me. But I would love to hear from you guys. Shoot me a comment if you have anything that you've learned, if you have any questions. I love talking to people. But I hope you guys have a great night. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Bye.